What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm out here in the shop tonight working on our 84 Berlinetta slow car project. So we're going to try and go to the racetrack here in another couple weeks and really need to address a couple of things. One, to make it work a little bit, just drive a little better, because it doesn't really want to drive real well. And also a few, I would consider them maybe safety items. So, you know, like, it doesn't have a good set of tires on it right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably put a set of wheels and tires that I've used for some of the other cars in the past whenever we go to the racetrack. So let's go ahead and knock out some of these projects so we can get ready. So in the last video, when I took you guys out for a ride, you probably heard me say that the throttle valve cable is way out of adjustment. So I've got a throttle cable bracket on the way that I'm hoping will fix the geometry issues. Also, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have wide open throttle, and this will fix that as well. But I'm worried that the throttle cable is going to, I'm worried that the throttle bracket could potentially hit the intake manifold or something along those lines. So I grabbed a 1/2-inch carburetor spacer, and I mean, it's got basically a stock replacement manifold on it. So I'm thinking that this carburetor spacer may help with, made in Taiwan, awesome. Oh, and a sticker right on the sealing surface, amazing. Carefully. There we go. Okay. What was I saying? Carburetor spacer, 1/2-inch. All right, let's put it on. Okay, so the throttle cable bracket will be here, I think, tomorrow, so we'll put that on then. For now, we're just going to keep moving forward and knock out the next couple of things. All right, throttle cable bracket came in today. This one is for Holly, and it interferes a little bit right here with the throttle, so I just hit it with the belt grinder to bring that around. And now the other thing is that it doesn't come with a bracket for the detent cable, so I just cut that piece off of the factory bracket and then cleaned it up a little bit, bent it, and we'll get this thing on here and all set. Well, we'll get it on here and all set after I make a notch here for the cable, because I have to flip it over. It won't fit like that. It'll hit the hardware and everything. So, all right, well, I got the linkage all hooked up now, and we're gonna probably have to adjust that after I get the thing driving again. But this stupid clicky clack pump down here, let's see if I can get you guys in there. So now that thing, there we go. That thing actually started working again. So, which is good, because I was able to run the car and I put a timing light back on it. And I did notice that the timing doesn't seem like it's advancing very much. It's advancing some, and when I had the cap off, I took a look at the mechanisms and they're free, but it seems like it's only adding maybe 5 or 10 degrees. I'm kind of wondering if it doesn't have like an advanced curve kit in it, so that might be something to do down the road. I don't want to spend too much time making it too good, for the first outing, because I want to be able to get a baseline so that we kind of see what's going on. But the good thing is that I think I'm pretty close to done up here, at least for now. It definitely seems to be coming around though. Now that I did put a fresh set of spark plugs in it, I tidied up the spark plug wires, made sure that they have good connection, and that and timing alone seems to really have kind of woken it up, at least sitting here running in the garage. So let's get a couple more projects knocked out, and hopefully we can get this thing to the racetrack. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and swap out wheels and tires. These are a torque thrust 15x4 on the front with just like a 165 80-15 front runner. Nothing real special on that. That wheel and tire combo for both fronts and tires probably under 350 bucks. So, but I'm just giving this a quick look over since I've got it right here. So, steering doesn't feel too bad. Bearings don't feel too bad. This cap was off in the wheel, so that was kind of nice. So I'll just stick that back on there. Might need to wedge that. Need more than that. That's better. Okay. Brake pads actually have some decent life, so I'm actually going to just leave this alone. I can definitely tell like it's a little bit glazed and definitely some surface rust from sitting, but this will come right back around, so it's not binding or anything else like that. I mean, obviously not a low drag brake like we see on some of the other stuff, but so we'll get this on here, and then I'll go over to the other side. And yeah, I have center caps for this, by the way, so don't you worry. Hey, so one thing I just thought about real fast, I wanted to just put it out there in the ether. This tire is not really a speed rated tire. It's rated T, which I think might be like 106 mile an hour. So if you have a fast car, do not run this tire. Okay, if you have a car that runs 115, 120, 150 mile an hour track speeds, be smart. Use a real race front tire. All right, get these old dry rotten BF Goodrich radial PAs off. I'm gonna assume that's good. So the tires we're putting on the back is also a 235 60-15. This is a Mickey Thompson ET Street Radial SS. It's on a 15x8 torque thrust. These are torque thrust D. It's got 4.5 inches of back spacing, which is probably the most common 15x8 back spacing you'll see on a third gen with a stock width rear end. So looks like we got plenty of clearance. So yeah, I mean, I realize it's the suspension is extended right now, but I can tell because I can tell that it's going to be just fine. Don't want to accidentally say a catchphrase from some other channel. That would be lame. You know, I gotta admit, even with it sitting up in the air all jacked up and stupid looking like this, those wheels really did a number on the attitude on this car. I'm excited to see this thing back on the ground after a bit. All right, well, it's been a mystery long enough. I have no idea what gears are in this. I do know it's an open differential, but I really want to figure out what gears are in it. And then maybe install something that will keep this from being so open. And I guess I'll go ahead and address that pinion seal as well. So that would be the tooth count on the gears. So 42 divided by 13, 323. All right. That's kind of what I was thinking. I made this special wrench years ago, and it's got a 5/16 or an 8mm welded onto well, it was a 17mm because that's how the socket fit, but because you can't get stuff in here, and definitely want to use a 6-point on this because you will most definitely strip this little cross bolt. Or break it. Now what? Well, after finding that broken cross pin retaining bolt, I really started questioning my life decisions. Well, after finding that broken cross pin retaining bolt, I really started to kind of question my life decisions and started thinking about, even though this might be like a quote-unquote better 10 bolt, it's still a drum brake, it's still a 7.5 inch, 7 5/8, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, I'm probably going to break it anyways. So I started thinking about how much I care or don't care about this thing, and looked at my bank account and decided that there was really only one logical solution. So I wheeled over the Hobart, I cranked everything up, I cleaned up everything as best as I could, and then I splattered the world's worst booger welds all over those gear oil covered spider gears, and to hell with it. That's just the way it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this pinion seal swapped out, and we're gonna fill it back up with whatever 80W90 I have laying around, and we'll slap the seal of approval on this whole deal. At the end of the day, it's not a fast car. There's no real reason to invest a bunch of money and resources into a 10 bolt. So I'll start looking around for like a 9 inch or something at some point, and we'll go from there. So, but for now, no more one wheel peel. That's the most critical thing. So while I've got the drive shaft out, I'm going to go ahead and put a polyurethane torque arm mount in it as well. On the last video, when I took it out for a quick drive on the 1-2 shift, it kind of wanted to move around a bit, and I know that was the torque arm mount being basically missing. That bushing is just gone, and then the open differential. So these, in my mind, are safety items. So we'll get this part wrapped up and see what else we can get into. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a do as I say, not as I do thing. You really shouldn't just hammer that back on with the impact gun, but I've done a whole bunch of these and I've got a pretty good feel as to what they should be. But you can very easily over crush that crush washer in between the bearings and put the bearings in a bind. But this one is ready to go back together. All right, let me tell you all something. This has been quite the dumpster fire today. Whoa. What a... All right. Take a break. Take a break. Take a break. I think we're on the right track again finally. So I'm taking all the rubber hose out. One, it's all cheap parts store stuff and it tends to degrade over time, and it's definitely getting kind of gummy. So that's one reason. The other reason is that per NHRA safety, you can have no more than 12 inches cumulative of rubber hose in your fuel system. So I am going to hardline everything we can, and then we'll have just like 2 to 3 inch rubber connections at each junction. So that should help keep us legal. So, I mean, obviously it's a fire hazard and it's best to try and err on the side of caution here. So we'll get this all plumbed up and test it out. Well, up front at the regulator, I was able to find some braided hose here in my stash with some hose ends and some hardline to AN compression style conversion fittings. And of course I am out of these 3/8 national taper pipe to AN. So I only had 2 of them, so I need 1 more, and that way I can swap this out. So I will not run at the racetrack with this much rubber line in the system. And unfortunately, you guys know the hurricane came through in Florida earlier this week. While we're getting smashed with it this weekend ourselves. So that's going to do it for today, since they canceled our track day for tomorrow. Thanks so much for coming by. Comment, like, and subscribe if you can, and I'll see you on the next one.